everyone, this is Lomi, and today we're going to be answering a really common BJD hobby question. Sometimes you get a doll and it doesn't really click for whatever reason. Either way, there's a point for all of us when we need to know how to sell a BJD. If you've been in the hobby for a bit, this is probably something you've done before, but for people new to selling dolls, it can be really intimidating, so here's a walkthrough of how I move dolls along to a new home. Step 1 is taking pictures. As beautiful as your doll probably is all dressed up, you want your doll to be photographed nude because the condition of the doll itself is what's most important to buyers. Adding a note with your name or username online can be helpful to prove the doll is in your possession, and also helps people know who to contact if they happen to see the photo randomly online. You don't need an amazing camera for sales photos. Using your phone is probably fine, and it's what I usually use just because it's easy. Try to use natural lighting for photos, as interior lighting can make a doll look more yellow than it actually is. It also helps to take a moment to pose your doll nicely for pictures, even if it's just laying flat with arms and legs straight. While taking photos, it's very important to document any damage your doll might have, such as chipping or cracks. Vaughn has a chipped shoulder and a cracked eyelid. It's also important to mention modifications, like Vaughn's added elf ears. His body blushing is in great condition, but if there are chips or stains, you might want to note those too. Something that rubbed against his leg left a dirty mark, so I'll be sure to take extra time to clean that. If you aren't confident you can safely clean your doll, it's okay to sell it dirty, but be aware that that may affect the price you'll get. If you have clothes or accessories that you're selling along with your doll, be sure to include a photo of them. However, be prepared for the fact some buyers may not want these extras, and you shouldn't expect them to increase your doll's value. Clothes and accessories were your taste for the doll, not necessarily your buyer's. If your doll came with its box and you were able to keep it, this is worth mentioning in the listing. Vaughn has half his box. The top got wet when he was shipped to me, and it got moldy, so I threw it away. The foam is all in good condition though, which means he can still be shipped in it. I also have all the paperwork that came with him, which includes instruction manuals and his certificate of authenticity. For many collectors, having the COA is very important, and they may not consider purchasing a doll without it. However, not all dolls come with a COA. In those cases, it may be a good idea to include photos of things like a maker's mark on the doll's head, the original box, or copies of your receipt from when you bought it. All 3 of my Fairyland dolls were made before Fairyland offered COAs, so I made sure to keep all my original Fairyland boxes, copies of my receipts, and the paperwork that came with the dolls. If you purchased your doll secondhand, hopefully it still has some of these. Before we can list the doll, there is one more thing to do. Pack it up. You'll need lots of bubble wrap, but you can get it at dollar stores. For Vaughn, since he has his box with the foam insert, he can be shipped in that. All I have to do is wrap the delicate parts like his hands and feet, like how he was originally shipped to me. Since he has a face-up, another thing to consider is a face protector. I don't usually have them on hand, but I have learned that the domed lids on iced drinks can be washed and saved and work really well. This one's from my birthday frappuccino. Sometimes you may be selling just parts, or a doll that's not strung, or a doll without a box. In these cases, you'll want to wrap each part individually in bubble wrap, tape it shut, and pack it securely in a box that way. Speaking of boxes, you don't want to ship your doll just in that pretty box they came in. Many collectors like to keep their boxes, so they should be in good condition. Instead, wrap that baby with bubble wrap, maybe even 2 layers of bubble wrap, and tuck it safely inside a well-padded, larger shipping box. But, actually wrap it, and don't just stick it in there like I did for demonstration purposes, because that looked stupid. After your doll is packed, you'll need to take it to the post office to be weighed and measured so you can provide shipping estimates to potential buyers around the world. Then it's finally time to create our listing. Instagram can be a great place to find potential buyers for your BJD. When posting your doll for sale, share up to 10 photos in one post and provide as much information as you can about what the doll is, what its condition is, what it comes with, and what sort of history or damages the new owner should expect. Using the hashtag BJD sales will help put your doll in front of a lot of buyers, But a lot of doll companies and customizers use the tag too, so make sure you also include tags of your doll's company and sculpt name so that people looking for that specific doll can find it more easily. There are lots of places online to sell dolls, but one place I've had great luck with is the marketplace on the forum Den of Angels. DOA's marketplace is available for established members, so you have to participate in the community before it's open to you. But the marketplace is divided into sections for different sizes of dolls, and the sales form is really informative and easy to fill out. Another place I've sold dolls is on Facebook. I've had good luck with groups like the BJD Addicts sales group, but there are other sales groups too. These are also great places to do market research to find out what your doll is worth before selling. You also have the option of listing your doll on sites like eBay. However, eBay's market is full of scammers, so when listing there, it's extra important to include information that supports your doll's authenticity. And if there are any doubts whether or not your doll is legitimate, please be honest. Once your doll is listed for sale, keep the size and weight of the package handy and be prepared to give lots of shipping quotes. I obviously live in the United States, so I can only speak for our shipping system, but you can get quotes online for how much it'll cost to send the package anywhere in the world. While smaller dolls will sometimes fit into flat rate boxes, most of the time you'll be using your own box to ship and will need to put in the weight and dimensions for the quote. Just be ready because some of those prices are ridiculous. Seriously, it would cost how much to send them to my sister? Last of all, I have a few recommendations that unfortunately don't have pretty graphics to go with them, but they are important. First off, no matter where you sell, using PayPal offers the best protections to both buyers and sellers. Always buy and sell with transactions classified as goods and services, not friends and family. You have to pay a fee on goods and services transactions, but friends and family transactions offer no protection on either side. If you don't know the buyer, consider asking to see feedback in trusted marketplaces, such as Facebook feedback groups, or even their user feedback score places like eBay or Etsy. If you decide to take layaway payments for your doll, it may make it easier to sell, but make sure you lay out your terms clearly and get your agreements in writing, because the transaction does become a legal contract. Take photos of your doll when it's wrapped and packed so you can prove it was packaged appropriately. Damage to dolls during shipping is rare, but if the post office breaks it, you have to prove that you packed it correctly. All packages should have tracking numbers because if they don't and it does get lost, that number is your only hope of finding it. Also consider paying a few extra dollars for signature confirmation so that the buyer has to sign for the package. Be prepared to give many shipping quotes. I typically speak to 5 or 6 prospective buyers before I find someone who's ready to take the leap. If your doll is large like Vaughn is, consider being willing to take the doll apart and ship unstrung, because it'll fit in a smaller box and cost less to ship. If the buyer doesn't want the original box, this can save a ton of money while shipping large dolls. Decide at the beginning and state up front if you're not comfortable shipping internationally. There are doll collectors all over the world, and you never know who might want what you're selling. Avoid disappointment by letting people know up front that you don't want to send a doll overseas. Never ship a doll before you've received full payment. I know that may seem obvious, but you'd be surprised. I never expected anyone would do that, but when I bought Lillian, the seller was familiar with me and shipped him before I'd paid based on my reputation. I was so freaked out. Obviously I paid for him, but seriously, get that PayPal transaction protection before you put anything in the mail. Last of all, and I forgot to put this on the list, insurance. It only costs a couple dollars extra to fully insure your package, and if anything happens to the doll in transit, insurance is the only way to guarantee the transaction will be safe. Always insure your packages. I know it's a lot to keep in mind, but taking those steps to prepare will really help your transactions go more smoothly. Although I'm sure a lot of people are curious about pricing, that's not something I'm going to cover here because it's so subjective based on the doll's condition, age, color, and so many more factors. The best thing you can do is research what comparable dolls are for sale and just price according to what you see. Fortunately for Vaughn, he's not really being sold. My apologies to anyone who loved him and got hopeful. All my current dolls mean too much to me to consider selling them, so he comes back out of the box, and I guess he'd better get some pants. And that's all for today, though. Thanks for watching. Bye.